Good day, mate. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another FPL video. In today's video, we're going to be going through the best wildcard team that you can build. It's not only going to be looking at game week 22, but it's going to be looking right up to game week 25. And I'll go through each week with potential transfers too. So even if you're not on your wildcard, this is a great video for you, as you can tell what is the best possible team and what sort of team you should be aiming for to best navigate these double game weeks and the blank game week. So yeah, definitely keep watching. And if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, as I do release 2 to 3 videos every week. And yeah, make sure you give this video a like. So now we'll go through the team and how it will line up for game week 22. So for our goalkeepers, I have gone for Ederson. Ederson does have a tough fixture against Spurs away in game week 22, but he does have a double in 23 and 2 great fixtures after that, Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. For my sub goalkeeper, I've gone for Danny Ward. He's not going to be playing much, as Ederson is the main choice. And the reason I've gone for Ederson is I just can't trust Pep's roulette. You don't know if Stones is going to start, Akanji. They look like the best options, but I just want guaranteed points if City do keep a clean sheet. And say like with Cancelo, you always had that up chance of attacking returns. With Stones and Akanji, you don't really have that. So there's not really that much reward to the risk. Otherwise, it might be worth going for them. But yeah, Ederson for me, safe hands, and hopefully you can get a few more clean sheets. For the defence, I've decided to target the double game week fixtures quite a lot. So you'll see that as a theme throughout the team. So Luke Shaw up on 4. Great double game week if Man United and Leeds don't draw in the FA Cup. So Crystal Palace and Leeds both at home. Then they have Leeds away, Leicester at home, and Brentford at home. So really, really good games. Although that Brentford game could be a blank, but we'll move on to that later on in the video when we talk about game week 25. I've gone for Gabriel, but this could be Ben White if you don't have the money. The team does come to about 101 million, maybe just under. So I'm sure a lot of you have that team value or greater. So you should be able to afford Gabriel. But if not, Ben White is still a good option. So I've gone for him because Everton away, really, really good fixture. Everton are terrible at the moment. And then they do have a double game week with Brentford and Man City at home, followed by Villa and Leicester. So yeah, really good. Arsenal look good at the moment, and I feel like one of their defenders is essential. So next up is Trippier. So I'm sure I don't need to go on about Trippier. No double game weeks, might blank in 25, but you just got to have Newcastle defence in your team. I don't think I don't know, Trippier has only blanked once since game week 4, I think it was. And yeah, it's ridiculous how great Newcastle defence has been. And that's why I have gone for double Newcastle. Although one of their defenders, Botman, who I've gone for, who's about 4.5, 4.4 million, I got him for 4.4. That's why it's listed as 4.4 on the graphic. It's just really, really good defensively. There's no really other way to pull it. Although I'm not playing him this week. It's only because Everton are terrible. So I want to play my Arsenal defender, and Man United do have a double game week. So that's the only reason why. For my 5th defender, I have actually gone for Bueno. So coming in at 3.9 million is what I got him for. He might be about 4 now. I'll probably never use him, to be honest, unless Newcastle have a really, really bad game and Arsenal and Man United do as well. So not much to talk about there. For midfield, so again, really, really targeting the double fixtures, double game week. So starting off with Bruno Fernandes, who's been doing really, really well recently. He's kind of, since the World Cup, he's really, really stepped up, I'd say. And since Ronaldo has gone, I'm not too sure he could be on penalties. Now Ronaldo is gone. That could be Rashford too. So I'm not 100% on that. But he was on penalties before Ronaldo was there. So there's always a chance. He comes in just under 10 million. So pretty expensive. But if you've got kind of a Salah-shaped hole, then you're fine paying that for Fernandes, for those that are kind of not on the wildcard too. His returns, like I said, have been great. An assist against Arsenal, goal against Palace, goal against City, assist against Bournemouth, assist against Wolves. Yeah, he's just been doing really, really well since the World Cup. He's got 5 returns in 5 as well. So a fantastic option. Also from United, I've gone for Rashford, who, although that says 7 million, he is now 7.2. So yeah, Rashford's been on fire as well. The only blank was that Palace away game since the World Cup. He scored 5 in 6 games. So yeah, the guy's on fire, and he's a must-have for any team, even if you're not on a wild card. For the Arsenal midfielder, they, like I said, they've got Everton and they've got a double game week. I have gone for Saka because there was other options like Martinelli, Odegaard, but Saka's on penalties. He's on fire, and he's kind of the only option in that Arsenal kind of front three that don't have someone direct to replace them. Martinelli has Trossard, Jesus has Nketiah has Jesus. Odegaard could have someone like Emil Smith-Rowe, maybe Fabio Vieira, whereas Saka on that right, there's not really a player there to come in for him. He is a little bit more expensive, but like I said, even since the World Cup, he's been doing really, really good. 3 goals, 1 assist, and he loves picking up the bonus too. So yeah, great option. But if you don't have the funds, Odegaard or Martinelli are good options too. I've also gone with kind of a punt almost, so Rodrigo for Leeds. So he does have a double game week, although it's not the easiest. 2 away games, and Forest have been doing much better recently at home. So it's not a kind of easy game as it sounds away from home. So yeah, Rodrigo scored 10 goals this season, although he hasn't been firing since the World Cup. Well, he's done okay, but he's not been on fire. He's more like a 1 week punt almost. He's got 1 goal since the World Cup, but so yeah, if you want that option, that doesn't even have to be Rodrigo. It could be, if you got the funds, maybe even like a Kulusevski or a Maddison if he's back, or a Bowen. It doesn't have to be Rodrigo, but I just want to attack them double game week fixtures. Now we've got the luxury of the wild card. We can kind of go for them punts. Also, Andreas on the bench, just a good steady option, and he's guaranteed to play in game week 25. Up front, just a standard Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. So Kane, he's just doing so well this season. Spurs have been terrible, but he's still been banging in the goals. So after City at home, they do have Leicester, West Ham, and then Chelsea at home, which is an okay fixture run. And I just fancy him to get goals in them. And Spurs hopefully will pick up their form and start performing a little bit better than they have been since the World Cup. And then Kane, I'm sure Kane will get more and more goals. They're also looking to bring in Dan Juma from Villarreal. So hopefully that kind of helps Kane out with a bit of kind of a few more assists and a few more goals. Yeah, Erling Haaland, so much to say about him. Absolute machine. He's broken last season's top goal scorer record already. So he's got more goals than anyone did last season. He's only played half the amount of games. So he does have Spurs away, which can be tough. Well, who knows what Spurs will turn up. But then he does have a double game week against Villa and against Arsenal. That Villa game is at home, so pretty good fixture. But the Arsenal game is away, and it will be tough as they're both kind of fighting for the league. And then they do run into 2 away games, but pretty good away games. So Forest and then Bournemouth, which is, yeah, pretty good. And he does play in game week 25 too. And I've also gone for Nketiah as the third Arsenal option. So with Everton away, then a double game week, and that price is the key thing for me. That price, I don't know what other striker options there is. That Tony can be an option, but we get an extra fixture, maybe an extra 2 fixtures with Nketiah. Because you get the double game week, then you might get game week 25, which Tony might blank in. So that's why I've gone for Nketiah. I could go like Odegaard instead of Rodrigo, and then Nonto instead of Nketiah. But I just fancy Nketiah to carry on the goal scoring form, and I don't think Gabriel Jesus is back for another 4 to 5 weeks. So yeah, let me know below what changes would you make to this wildcard team, and then we'll just talk about how the team will look and transfers for the next 3 or 4 game weeks. So next up, we have the game week 23 team. So for me, I'd make the simple transfer of Rodrigo out to Mahrez. Mahrez could be Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, It's just whoever you fancy from that City attack. But Mahrez has been on fire recently, and he absolutely tore Tottenham apart the other night. This is so we can target the Man City double fixtures, double game week, which they do have in game week 23. So that means we'll go into it with 3 Spurs, 3 City, 3 Arsenal, 3 City. So we basically got 12 fixtures just from them 6 players, which is great. Although they do play each other, they both have a pretty good game in the other fixture, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I fancy Mahrez to do well. And again, since the World Cup, he's been doing really, really great. So he's had almost 7 returns, which is incredible in 6 games. So really, really great. And yeah, hopefully he can do that in the double game week and help get this team more points. So please ignore the captains though, as I haven't really chosen it every week. But this week will be Haaland, and it's a potential triple captain as well. So definitely keep that in mind. So with game week 24, it is really, really smart to be rolling a transfer, I'd say, or bringing in a player that will not blank in game week 25. So with this team, at the moment, they've got good fixtures, so I don't really want to take anyone out. You could potentially take out maybe a Newcastle defender, say like Botman or Shaw. But for me, I'd rather just keep it like as it is and then go into game week 25 with 2 transfers ready to go. So we'll move on to that now. So with game week 25, there is a possibility for there to be blanks and even doubles. But for the sake of this video, we'll just keep it simple and look at the League Cup and how the League Cup will affect this game week. So we know for definite that these fixtures are going to be going ahead or going to be potentially be a blank. So, for example, let's take Nottingham Forest v West Ham, Southampton v Leeds, Man United v Brentford, and Newcastle v Brighton. So they can potentially be blanks. But if we're going to look at the fixtures, it is Newcastle v Southampton in the League Cup, and Newcastle have won that game already 1-0 away from home. So it's likely they're going to be the team that does actually progress. So we can kind of almost assume that Southampton Leeds will be going ahead. For the other fixture, it's Nottingham Forest against Man United, and we can kind of, I want to say, assume, as it's over 2 legs, Man United will be going through. So Man United, Brentford will be off, but West Ham and Nottingham Forest will be on. So for that reason, I've made the transfers based on that and kind of benched the certain players. So for this team, I've kind of benched Rashford, Botman, and Trippier, but we've also sold Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes, as they will potentially be blanking. So I've kind of gone for Bueno and Aurier as the replacements for Shaw and the bench Newcastle players. So the defence doesn't look that bad. I just feel like Nottingham Forest are much better defensively now. But that could be anyone, 4.5, around 4.5 million, 5 million. So potentially anyone. But I've already got 3 Arsenal, 3 City. So it's kind of hard to get anyone else in. And you don't want that money to sit on your bench, as you probably will be playing your Arsenal and Newcastle defenders most weeks. This is why it's so important on a wildcard to have players that will be playing in game week 25. And that's why I've gone for Bueno and for Aurier. There is an argument to say Botman doesn't have to be in the team from the beginning. That could be someone else that does play this game week. But for me, I know I want double Newcastle going forward. So that's the only reason why I've got Botman. For midfield, so I've gone Fernandes to Kulusevski. This could be, again, anyone around that price range, around 9-8 million mark. I just fancy Spurs to kick on and have a good run of fixtures after this game week 25. So although they have Chelsea at home, which is notoriously a tough fixture for Spurs, Chelsea have been awful recently, and who knows, they might get better in the time period between now and game week 25. But so with game week 25, there is a possibility for there to be blanks and even doubles. But for the sake of this video, we'll just keep it simple and look at the League Cup and how the League Cup will affect this game week. So we know for definite that these fixtures are going to be going ahead or going to be potentially be a blank. So, for example, let's take Nottingham Forest v West Ham, Southampton v Leeds, Man United v Brentford, and Newcastle v Brighton. So they can potentially be blanks. But if we're going to look at the fixtures, it is Newcastle v Southampton in the League Cup, and Newcastle have won that game already 1-0 away from home. So it's likely they're going to be the team that does actually progress. So we can kind of almost assume that Southampton Leeds will be going ahead. For the other fixture, it's Nottingham Forest against Man United, and we can kind of, I want to say, assume, as it's over 2 legs, Man United will be going through. So Man United, Brentford will be off, but West Ham and Nottingham Forest will be on. So for that reason, I've made the transfers based on that and kind of benched the certain players. So for this team, I've kind of benched Rashford, Botman, and Trippier, but we've also sold Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes. So yeah, that was it for the wildcard video. If you are new around here, please make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below. What do you think of the wildcard? Do you think there could be improvements made? And yeah, let me know your transfers for this week. Or indeed, if you are playing the wildcard, let me know too in the comments below.